Today I will cover a game between Wesley So and Magnus Carlsen. This is a game from Goldmoney Asian Rapid 2021. This is a game from knockout stage and this is a game number 2. And we have already seen that in the game number 1 Magnus defeated Wesley So. I have already covered this game. So if you want you can check this out. Now let's check out this game. So in this game Wesley has the white pieces and he opened with e4. e5 by Magnus, knight to f3, knight to c6 and now bishop to c4. So Wesley goes for the Italian game. We have bishop to c5 by Magnus and now c3. We have knight to f6 and now d3. We have d6 by Magnus and now castles by white. We have h6 now. So Magnus is not allowing any knight to g5 or bishop to g5 idea. Now we have rook to e1 and now castles by black. We have knight b to d2 and now a6. So probably Magnus is preparing bishop to b5. Now we have knight to f1. Later on you can play bishop to e3. We have bishop to a7 and now a4. Not allowing any b5 idea. Now we have rook to e8 and now h3. We have bishop to e6 and now bishop captures on e6. Rook captures and now b4. So white will definitely play b5. We have queen to d7 by Magnus and now queen to c2 by Wesley. We have d5 now striking in the center and now bishop to e3. For the moment you can see this dark square bishop is a very strong piece here. And for the moment this pawn is also pinned. So Magnus played bishop to e3 to counter this dark square bishop. We have bishop captures, knight captures and now knight to e7. In this position Wesley played c4 and we have d4 by Magnus just attacking the knight. We have knight to f5 and now a5. We have b5 just closing the position and now even c5 by Magnus. We have knight to h4 and now knight to g6. We have g3 now and now knight to e8. In this position Wesley played king to h2 and now knight to d6. We have queen to e2 and in this position if you immediately capture this knight then white can capture back with this knight. So Wesley first captured this knight. We have knight captures and now queen to e7. Now again Magnus played knight to f5 just attacking the queen and now we have queen to f6. We have knight captures, rook captures and now rook to f1. So white will definitely play f4. Now we have rook to e8 and now f4. We have rook to queen to d8. In this position if you capture this pawn then white can capture, g captures on f4 and after you move the queen, because if you don't move the queen, if you play something like this move then you can face e5 and e5 is a very strong move. Okay, for the moment if you move the queen if you move the queen somewhere then white can capture this rook because this queen hangs, but after the queen moves then later on you can play a5 and this position is very active for white. So after this queen to queen, so in the position after this move f4 we have queen to d8 by Magnus and now queen to h5 by Wesley. We have x6 now and now h4. We have queen to d7 and now rook to f2. We have queen to f7, so Magnus is just offering a queen trade. We have queen to f3 and now e captures on f4. We have g captures and now e5. So in this position Wesley played e5 just attacking the rook. We have rook to g6 and now rook to g1. We have rook captures, king captures and now b6. We have rook to g2 by Wesley and now king to h7. So Magnus is improving the position of the king. We have h5 now and now rook to e6. We have king to f2 and now queen to e7. We have queen to h3 by Wesley just attacking the pawn. we have queen to f3 just defending, and now king to e1. In this position actually the best move is, okay, for the in this position white is better, but after this king to e1 move Magnus played g6, but g6 is a blunder in this position. Instead of g6, you can play this king to h8 move and the game continues. But in the game Magnus played g6, but g6 is a blunder, and Wesley immediately played h captures on g6, rook captures, and now queen to f5. And if you capture this rook, then your queen is undefended, so white will capture this queen with check. So we have rook to f6, queen captures, rook captures, and now king to f2, and now rook to e7. We have king to g3 by Magnus, and in this position actually after this move king to g3, and in this position with Magnus Carlsen resigned the game, because this is a totally winning position for white. Because if you play something like rook to e6, then king to h4 to remove king to e7, then king to h5, and after you play something rook to g7, then rook captures, king captures, and now e6, king to f8, and the game continues, and white will win, definitely win this game. And now this is checkmate. So after this move, just 1 minute, after this move king to e1, Magnus played g6, but g6 is a blunder in this position. So after this move king to g3, in this position actually Magnus Carlsen resigned the game. So that was the game. I hope you enjoyed that game, and this was the game number 2 of the knockout stage. Let's see what happens in the game number 3 and 4. So I hope you enjoyed that one, and stay tuned for more updates, and thank you for watching.